Hello everyone. You may bless with lots of compassion and opportunities as you start your new day. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professional Free International webinar. Thank you all for joining with us in this wonderful morning. My lovely audience, today I am your host. I am Kamrul from Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member, and I feel honored to host this webinar. And it's my delight to welcome you all to our Institution of Global Professional platform. Thank you all again for joining with us in this marvelous morning. And it's my humble request to you that you stay with us till end. And don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friends. So let's together and learn together. Before we have completed our 472 webinars successfully. Today I will be presenting webinar number 473, and the topic is promoting sustainable learning objectives. Before starting our program, I request you everyone to share this webinar in your newsfeeds and different educational groups. So let's together and learn together. Today we have a speaker from Philippines. Today our speaker name is Jason M. Nobida MB. He is a head of Solid Waste Management Unit, Auxiliary Services Center, Result Technological University. He is also Cooperative Education Coordination Result Technological University. He is also instructor College of Business and Entrepreneurial Technology Result Technological University. He is also local internal auditor of RTU ISO. Let's welcome our speaker to the screen. Hello, sir.
Hello everyone. Am
Hello, sir.
I being heard clearly?
Yes, sir. I hear you clearly.
All
Sir,
right. Thank you very
open,
much for
open your
the
camera, please.
introduction.
Open your camera, please, sir.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
May I request please to add my another one, the account in the backstage.
Yes, sir. Share your screen, please.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me share to you my screen so
Yes,
everyone can be able to see my presentation.
yes, sir. Make it full screen. Okay, sir. Let's
All
start
right.
your
Do you see my
presentation.
presentation now?
Yes, sir. You can start your presentation.
All right. So thank you very
Thank you.
much once again. A pleasant day to everyone. Hello to our participants this day from a different part of the world. I saw a lot of comments in our Facebook Live and even in YouTube, and I am glad that I'm seeing a lot of well diverse audience right now. If you can hear me loud and clear, can you please can you please give me a heart reaction on our comment section uh, so I can be able to see your interaction with our discussion this morning. All right, so thank you very much to our audience. So this is really amazing, right? That we are here today in this platform, gathering for a common objectives, right? And that is to gain a relevant knowledge that will definitely help us to become a better individual in our respective careers. I do believe that we have educators, we have students, we have professionals, we have a different or well diverse um, individuals with different professions nowadays watching us and with this kind of platform. And it is very amazing that we gather today for our common objectives, and that is to gain relevant knowledge, to improve ourselves in connection to our relevant careers. Well, anyway, again, my name is Mr. Jason M. Noveda from the Philippines, and I am a college instructor. I'm teaching business management, financial management, social responsibility, and other major courses for about 7 years. And I'm also affiliated with various local, national, and international professional organizations. I'm also an author of various educational books, of course, in connection to my field of career, which is business management. I am also, um, yeah, I'm a volunteer or an advocate of sustainability, most especially in education. That's why I choose to discuss with our audience today promoting sustainable learning outcomes. So without any other introduction, I would like first to thank the IGP or the Institute of Global Professionals for letting me share my knowledge and experience to others, to a well-diverse individuals. Thank you for giving me this great opportunity to speak and to share. And yeah, in today's webinar, we will be going to discuss one of my advocacies, and that is what I so-called promoting sustainable learning outcomes. Maybe some of you are familiar with this, but I want still to impart my learning methodologies because for me, no, setting a sustainable learning outcomes help us realize our full responsibility as an educators. If if we have students who are joining us today, this webinar might help you as well because it will definitely help you obtain the real essence of establishing learning outcomes. So for our today's agenda, the content of our presentation are the following. So we have, of course, the learning objectives. We will be going to discuss the benefits of this webinar. I will be going to share with you some sort of introduction about the sustainability in education, promoting the 17 Sustainability Development Goals or the SDG, um, traditional learning outcomes versus, of course, the sustainable learning outcomes. And I will be going to leave you tips on how to make your learning objectives more sustainable. So these are the agenda or the contents for today's presentation. Now, if you can observe, I will deliver you a concise presentation this morning. We will not make this topic more complicated, but we will stick into a practical approach. We will go directly to the point so we could have a plenty time to relax because it's a Sunday morning, no? After this event, or to make a relevant realization out of our discussion this morning. So to begin, let me share to you the quotation from Audrey Hepburn. According to her, as you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself and the other for helping others. This is one of my favorite quotations actually, that I always incorporate to my function as an educator. We should always wear a blanket of responsibility, a blanket of passion and commitment to all our actions, more so to our job. This message always reminds me that me as an educator, I should go beyond what is presently practicing. I should go beyond the existing systems. So meaning if teaching students is our main role as an educator, and that is already listed on the descriptions of our jobs. Let us offer another time, another effort, or let's say another hand, So we cannot only do what are the tasks listed on our job descriptions, but of course we will should look for the better opportunities or avenues to make these functions become more effective and efficient. So don't work using a single hand alone, but I want to say that work using your two hands. So moving forward, this is all about the building sustainable learning outcomes. So what then is our learning outcomes for this webinar? So if you have noticed, for our learning outcomes, I intentionally use the word action and outline the learning outcomes out of it. So after this webinar, the audience can be able to first analyze the local, national, and global sustainability that will be incorporated in our learning outcomes. So see if we have um, different local sustainability. We have different national sustainability and global sustainability platforms that can be able to incorporate to our learning outcomes. And by this kind of webinar, by this kind of platform, we can be able to analyze what are those local, national, and global issues that can be incorporated to our sustainability learning outcomes. So, meaning to say, um, we can be able to promote um, sustainability through establishing the learning outcomes. So, we cannot be settled for doing learning outcomes that is to transfer knowledge or to understand per se, but we need to go beyond that. We need to establish sustainable learning outcomes by incorporating local, national, and even global challenges to our learning objectives. Another is consider sustainability concepts while creating personal and professional ideals. By means of this webinar, we can be able to consider somehow that sustainability concept um, can be incorporated not only in our job, not only in our learning outcomes as an educator, but also in creating our personal and professional ideals. Like what I have mentioned to you a while ago, I am the advocate of sustainability, and for every action that I am doing, I always consider sustainability. So, um, the impact of my action is always there, is always present. So we can realize the impactful result of every action that we will be doing if we consider sustainability concept. Another, through the help of this webinar, the audience can be able to take initiative to create sustainable learning outcomes. All right. So, meaning to say, every one of us as an individual will be having an initiative to create a learning outcomes, but not only the learning outcomes. I'm sorry for my background. We do live, and I hope everyone can understand. Um, we we should take the initiative to create this kind of learning outcomes. So another is initiate positive changes in learning outcomes development. Meaning to say, after this webinar, the audience can be able to initiate positive changes. We are the one who will initiate positive changes. So as an educator, we are the one um, who needs to take innovation toward the positive changes that aims that we are aiming for our students, for our learners. O for outline sustainability ideas in their academic curricula. So this is what I am looking forward after this webinar, that everyone or the educators, not only in the Philippines but all over the world, can be able to outline the sustainability ideas in their respective academic curricula. We are done with our traditional academic curriculum. Nowadays, we have encountered a lot of challenges all over the world, and it really affects our educational system. That's why nowadays we need to outline the sustainability ideas. In that way, our learners cannot be able to hang or to retain with the four corners of the classroom, but they will be exposed outside it and experience the real time situation, the challenges that we have, and they can be able to accept within themselves that they will be having a great responsibility toward this kind of problem. So let us, our student, to generate ideas by means of exposing them to the real situation that we have. Let our students to analyze the situation and let them contribute solution toward it, toward the challenges. Okay? Outside the universities, outside the campuses or the classrooms that they have. So letter N is after this webinar, the audience can be able to navigate modern approaches to achieve sustainability focused learning objectives. I want to highlight the modern approaches to achieve sustainability focused learning objectives because we all knew that um, we are now approaching to a digitalized or more on technological approaches of achieving the learning objectives. Maybe some of you are still using chalk and board or still using the traditional methods of teaching, but we are free to navigate the modern approaches we have right now, even though we are apart. We are diverse in terms of our locations, in terms of our culture, but still we are here gathering to a common goal, and that is another examples of modern approaches that we have in educational systems. Even though we are apart, in terms of education, it will not be hindered anymore because we have a modern technologies that we will be maximizing to deliver learning for our learners. So always remember action. So for everyone can realize the essence of this webinar. Okay. For for the reasons why I should or why you should attend this webinar. So maybe some of you are wondering why I should attend this webinar. So what's in it for me? What is the reasons why I should stay after the end of the presentation of the speaker? Okay, what's in it for me? So to give you the reasons why you should stay and finish the presentation, here are the some reasons. So the following will be obtained through this program. So if you will stay with me up to the last of my presentation, then you will definitely obtain the following reasons. The following um, stated values or maybe skills. So number one is sustainability leadership or sustainable leadership. If you still notice, I am love to present my knowledge or my ideas through acronym. So I use sustainable to deliver to you the different perks of staying with us for this morning. So the following will be obtained through this program. Number one is sustainable leadership. The audience could gain knowledge that might help them become a leader of sustainability. So if we will embrace the principle of sustainability in our actions, we could probably become a leader who uh, initiates who initiates sustainability, of course, wherever we go or whatever task we are doing. So for educators, it is very essential to become a leader of sustainability so that our students can be able to realize their responsibility or their contribution to the community. Okay, the another one is understanding the importance of sustainability in education. So our learners and even our students can have this kind of understanding how important the sustainability in education is. So our students are our product. I hope that everyone is also agreeing with me, most especially to our educators, that our students are our product. Or in business terminology, we are such the manufacturer of quality products. And as a manufacturer of this quality product, we should understand the importance of having a quality materials and a quality processes. So we cannot provide or we cannot produce a quality product without the quality materials and the quality processes. In that way, our output will become a competitive enough when they find their journey out of the educational institutions, or in business terminology, if they are currently in the market, they will be competitive enough. They are ready to face difficult challenges because they trained enough with a quality materials and a quality processes. So the question is, what are those quality materials and processes then? Okay. Employing the flavor of sustainability will equip our learners to become a highly caliber individual in the future. So, attending this webinar will be a great help in order for us to understand what's going on with sustainability in education. And I am happy to, to, to see or to know if maybe some of you have the same principle as mine, that nowadays we cannot be settled for traditional educational system, but we need to establish or incorporate sustainability in our education. Okay. The third one is strong ideals in achieving sustainable learning platform, transform innovative learning delivery. So by means of this kind of program, everyone will be aware on how to transform and to innovate our learning delivery. So, um, awareness of their societal responsibilities is also one. So, if we are the one who is watching this kind of webinar, who is attending this webinar, we will become aware of our societal responsibilities. Um, doing our function as an educator is very important, but it will also important to expose our student to become aware on their societal responsibilities. Okay, information competency. Okay, we will be going um, to discuss later on the numerous techniques and strategies in incorporating sustainability in education. So are we going to do the sustainability into education? How are we going to incorporate this kind of um, concept to our educational system? Everyone can obtain as well the ability to recalibrate their existing learning outcomes. I understand and I do believe that everyone of us has already existing learning outcomes. We already implemented our learning outcomes. We already established our curricula, but um, recalibrating it is not a crime. Innovating it is not a violation. Okay? Every day that we are doing our function as an educator, we should revisit our learning outcomes. And if this is not applicable for a certain scenario, we can be able to recalibrate it. We can be able to improve it until such time we achieve the sustainability that we are aiming for our students. Next is long-term knowledge, skills, and values. I know that some of you are also agreeing that education is a continuous process. And this webinar will help us to understand that it's never too late to change our system. It's never too late to gain a long-term knowledge, and it's never too late to improve our skills and values toward delivering learning outcomes to our or achieving learning outcomes toward our students. And the last one is you can be also obtain the empowerment in promoting sustainable learning outcomes. Um, the moment I started my presentation is the moment I want to empower everyone to promote as well the sustainable learning objectives so that everyone or every educator with with the intention to promote the sustainability in education will definitely help our students to become exposed and to become impactful for the community they are belonging with. All right. For our introduction, I would like to highlight some of the literatures that I gathered in connection to our main course for this morning, which is of course the sustainability learning objectives. So according to Burbeles, Fan, and Rep for on their um, study entitled "New Digital Technologies Are Transforming Education in Both Formal and Informal Learning Situations." So they highlighted some key points in their um, study, right? So as you can see, these digital technologies transform many aspects of educational systems. So including the educational aims and objectives, educational ecologies and contexts of learning, the processes of learning, the processes of teaching, and educational governance and policies. So these areas has something to do with our function as educators. It can change the nature of how we establish our learning objectives and more so how we will deliver learning to our students. When the COVID-19 hit the whole world, a lot of universities transformed or improved their educational system. And in connection to this transformation, given the reality that we are continuously experiencing societal, environmental, economical problems, we should definitely incorporate platforms that will develop to the ability of our learners to contribute to contribute a certain solutions or a relevant solutions to these challenging factors. Meaning to say, when the COVID-19 hit our systems, we are given an opportunity to change or to improve our system as well. So the positive side of it, when the pandemic strike our system, we also have an opportunity to improve the processes that we have, the existing systems that we have. Given the reality that we are all experiencing problems, difficulties in different areas in education, so it says that, or it can be manifested within this kind of situation, that this kind of processes will be incorporated by something new, something that everyone can be a contributor, everyone can be a beneficial factor. And I can see this opportunity to establish sustainability learning outcomes in order for every one of us, even though we are educator or a student, can be able to contribute solution to the existing problems. All right. So in connection to this first literature that I have presented from Halasa et al. For their study entitled "Comparing Student Achievement in Traditional Learning with a Combination of Blended and Flipped Learning," the results revealed statistically significant improvements in student grades in their experimental group. Predictability calculations are revealed that if blended learning with a flipped classroom design is adopted in the future, learning results will be better achieved. This literature stated that we should go beyond to the traditional learning that we are presently, we are practicing in the educational system that we have. It is time for us to improve this kind of learning system. We should incorporate something new. We can incorporate relevant challenges or relevant scenario in order for us to cultivate the learning of our learners or students to gain the real essence of learning. And this kind of literature, shown us or revealed to us the significant relationship or difference of the traditional learning with a combination of blended and flipped learning. Another, through the through the study conducted by Hayes and Reinders, entitled Sustainable Learning and Education, a Curriculum for the Future, the authors stressed the significance of um, systems and ecological thinking, as well as the critical role of self-sufficiency as both as means and an objective in sustainable learning and education. They conclude with a statement about community. The more fully we accept and appreciate our neighbors, organizations, and societies as important, interdependent, and deserving of a viable future, and the more we engage with them toward positive ends, the more universally accepted the imperative of sustainability will be, and the more likely we will achieve it. So, using this kind of literature, we can highlight or we can conclude that our students should be engaged in our community or the community they are belong with. They should accept the reality that part of their social responsibility is to provide, um, to be engaged with the activities of the community, to provide solution to the challenges of the society, even though this solution is a very small. If we can see it in a wider perspective, this small solution can become bigger solution. Um, even though this is small, the students can be able to, and the society can be able to appreciate this kind of contribution from our students. So in that way, we should provide them platform. As an educator, we can provide them a platform wherein they can practice providing solution or critical or ecological thinking to the community. The role of our student is not to learn using traditional approach nowadays. The role of our students is also to contribute or to realize their contribution to the society, to the community, or to their neighbor or organization where they are belong with. Now, to define to you the word sustainability, okay, it is defined as the ability of natural and or social systems to coexist and thrive in order to fulfill current and future demands. That is for from Poly 2022. So from this kind of definition, we have to uh, to have two terms actually: the sustainable plus ITY and the sustainable or the sustain plus able. To sustain means to give support to hold up, to bear, or to keep up. And able pertains to us, meaning to say we as the we as the educator and our students as a learner can be able to sustain, to give support to, okay, to hold up or to bear contribution towards society. Okay, and what is sustainability then? It has something to do. It has something that is bearable and capable of being continued at a certain level. So meaning to say, um, even though our students finish their 4 years degree program, let's say for example, if they are graduated in our education, in our program, in the university or in the school, they can still be able to perform or they are still capable of being continued even though they are facing the true challenges outside the university or outside the campuses. That is the term sustainability. And that's we are looking forward that every educator should incorporate in our curriculum that um, the learning or the knowledge that they obtain from the school will not end after they graduated. It can be sustainable. So in the end, sustainability can perhaps be seen as the processes by which something is kept at a certain level. Now, I would like to present to you the SDGs or the 17 sustainability goals of the United Nations. This is a global approach. This is the global goals for sustainable development. What I am practicing now is I am incorporating these SDGs to my uh, learning platforms. For syllabus, curriculum, I always incorporate these sustainability development goals. So meaning to say, if we incorporate the sustainable goals plus the education, then we can achieve or we can realize the holistic growth among our students. Let's say, for example, if I will be going to uh, in my class, in my investment and portfolio management class, I always incorporate a quality education or might be sustainable cities and communities, so SDG number 11, to the activities given to my students. So my students can be able to see the the wider perspective, their contribution to as part of the sustainable cities and communities in connection to our discussion. Let's say, for example, another one is no poverty, SDG number 1. So how are we going to incorporate no poverty to our education, to our curriculum as part of our sustainable learning outcomes? So let's say our topic is more on um, financial management. So I always encourage my students to see how financial management can be able to provide solution in connection to no poverty SDG. That's how our SDG will be incorporated to our educational system. Okay. So, but then I do believe that still we have schools, we have universities, we have educators that still using traditional classroom or traditional learning objectives. What is the traditional classroom? The conventional class is the original and traditional way of delivery in which students attend class twice or three times each week. The lecturer will generally focus on standard lecture, homework assignments, and assessments such as quizzes, examinations, and project in the class. Are we one of the educators who is still using this kind of platform? Are we the one um, who attend our class, deliver lecture, give homework, assignments, assess the result of the quizzes, give examination and project in the class? Okay, if we are one of this kind of educator, then we are still belong to traditional classroom. Okay, what what we are promoting with this kind of platform is these sustainable learning objectives. Then how are we going um, to provide or to establish this kind of sustainable learning objectives? Are you the one of educators that your educational objectives seeks to assist students enter growth of well-being in a holistic and long-term manner? Are you the one that to those educators that allows your student uh, to assess or to document the problems encountered by the society and to provide possible problems out of this kind of problem? Are you an educator who allows your student to collaborate with other sections, with other students, um, allowing them to be exposed with different ideas, principles, values, and skills? If you are this kind of educator, then you are now practicing sustainable learning objectives. Okay. Are you the one who allows your students to engage in the community development programs? Are you allow your students to criticize the problems of the society and provide solution out of it? Then this kind of approach belongs to sustainable learning objectives. We expose our students to, or we assist our students to seek growth and to improve their well-being in a long-term manner. Because this kind of approach will definitely help them, most especially when they are exposed already with the real scenario, when they are performing their job, their functions in the community, when they are already in the field of business, and so on and so forth. Then this kind of approach will definitely help them because they already establish the values and skills during the time that they are student. I hope that everyone is still following me. Are you still with me? Um, we are we are about to end soon because, like what I have mentioned, this presentation is concise and very practical in approach. So we do not have time to discuss theories, but we are here to discuss the practical approach on how to make our learning outcomes more sustainable. Because we do believe that we can be able to we already knew how to establish learning outcomes, but I want to promote the sustainable one. Okay, and that is the focus of the next slide on how to make your learning outcomes more sustainable. So the question is, what are those what are those activities or what are those platforms or um, programs that we can be able to do to make our learning outcomes more sustainable? So I still use the word learn for us to easily understand and remember the sustainable learning objectives or the tips on how to do a sustainable learning objectives. So this is based on my personal experience and this is based on um, my present function as an educator. I always do that. Okay. Number one is let the student maximize system skills. So system thinking. So meaning to say, we should allow our students to think what are the beneficial system that they can be able to contribute for the specific existing system. Let's say, for example, educational system. If we are pertaining to educational system, then let our students maximize their thinking on how they could provide something for the improvement of the educational system. But take note that this would be very effective if we will be using it based on your subject matter. Let's say, for example, if I will be teaching financial management and my students are thinking what kind of financial or banking system is the most effective one. Okay? And then if they can analyze the problem, they are also the one who think of the possible solutions that can contribute to the system. Okay. Next one is embrace multidisciplinary collaboration and integration. This is what I have mentioned a while ago, that we should allow our students to collaborate and practice integration. My practice is if I have two or three different programs handling in my class, let's say, for example, I have BSBA, Business Administration major in Financial Management. I also have BS Entrepreneurship, and I also have BS Accountancy. So these are three different programs that I am handling, and I allow my BS accountancy students to collaborate with business administration major in financial management class. In that way, they can be able to collaborate and integrate ideas pertaining to uh, to the problem that I have given, and they can be able to collaborate effective ideas and principles pertaining to the desired solution. What else? Allow the students to demonstrate the capacity to address the 21st century national and international challenges. These 21st century national and international challenges are actually focused on our modern technology. We have a lot of challenges encountering with this kind of century, with this kind of era, and allow our students to demonstrate their capacity to address the challenges during this time. It is not effective uh, to discuss to our students the relevance of, you know, what happened during the time of 1980s. But what important is allowing them to demonstrate their capacity to address the present challenges, because this will be very helpful with them in times that they should focus on their personal growth, career after their graduation, okay? And recognize the advocate for civic engagement. Allow the students to recognize their advocacy, their skills, their values to advocate for something for civic engagement. For allow them to join the community involvement projects, allow them to create the non-academic organizations, allow them to join the impactful organizations, and never settle for less. Always remember that we should go beyond the traditional learning process, the traditional learning outcomes, and never settle for less. So these are some of my tips that I can be able to give you as part of promoting the sustainable learning outcomes. And finally, I would like to highlight, and I would like to end this presentation by giving you this quotation from Leonardo da Vinci. Learning never exhausts the mind. If that happens, then the student can experience stress during their learning process, and they will not like recognize learning if the mind is exhausted. So it is better to establish the educational community that is exciting, interesting, and the students can be able to generate learning out of their very good experience. In that way, they can be able to become competitive in their future careers whenever they are ready to face the real challenges of our world. I think that is the last slide that I can contribute to you. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. Thank you very much for Institute of Global Professional. Thank you very much for the opportunity you have given to me to share my knowledge and experience as an educator. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation you share with our participants. Thank you very much, sir. Dear participants, this time is our quiz competition session time. After a short video clip, we come back with our with our quiz competition. And today our code is IGP Quiz. Dear participants, it's our quiz competition session time. You can join with our quiz competition by slido.com and the quiz code is IGP Quiz. You can also scan our QR code from the screen. After quiz competition session, we proceed to our question and answer session 10, and then we proceed to our certification process. To join our quiz competition, you have to go to slido.com and to our quiz code is IGP Quiz. The link also given in our comment box. You can also join by our QR code from the screen. We start our quiz competition in a short time. So join. Hurry. Already 23 participants join with us. Some of our participants want to know how to get their certificate. First of all, you have to enroll our program, then you have to put the code which we give at the end of the program, then you claim your certificate. After 30 seconds later, we start our quiz competition. So join this quiz competition. You have to go to slido.com and the quiz code is IGP Quiz. You can scan our QR code from the screen. Let's start our quiz competition now. Our first question is, why are learning objectives important? They tell the student want to learn or provide that teacher with a goal for teaching learning process. 70% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is provide the teacher with a goal for teaching learning process. On the leaderboard, Danish Gundo Sarso leading the first position and the following Laisel Ergoveldon and Lee Fakonla. Our next question is collaborate learning. That is, what is collaborate learning is where people sit still and receive information, or is a situation where two or more people learn together. Wow, 100% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is a situation where two or more people learn together. On the leaderboard now, first position gain Dennis Guinto Sarso and Lizel Goveldan and Lipa Kungla. Our next question is learning objective must contain one action verb or any number of verbs. 52% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is one action verb. On the leaderboard now, first position gained Lizel Agrawaldan, and the following Lipa Kunla and Ashok Kumar Adhikari. Our next question is objectives of SDG is leave no one behind or help as many as we can. 75% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is leave no one behind. On the leaderboard now, Laizala Gabaldon leading the first position, and the following the Pakunla and Jimalin B. Rivera. Our next question is how many sustainable development goals are there? Is it 17 or 20? 79% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is 70. On the leaderboard, again Laizala Gabaldon leading the first position, and the followingly Pakunla and Jimalin B. Rivera. Our next question is where are the sustainable development goals to be achieved? Is it 2030 or 2050? 2030 is the right answer, and 88% of our participants give the correct answer. On the leaderboard now, Lipa Kunla leading the first position. Our next question is which SDG are we learning in details? Is it 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 starting or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starting? 60% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starting. Our next question is creativity is a value that undermines learning. The statement is true or false. Only 37% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is false. On the leaderboard, now Lipakungla gained the first position, and the following Jimalin B. Rivera. Our second last question is one of the organizational development objective is trust. The statement is true or false. 97% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is true. Our last and final question is the Sustainable Development Goals are designed to apply to which countries? Is it countries where 50% of our population live below poverty line, or all countries both rich and poor? 74% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is all countries both rich and poor. Congratulations of our top 10 quiz competition winners. On this leaderboard, first position is Lipa Kunla, and the second position is Min Kati Villanova, and third position is Ricky R. Colima. Top 10 quiz competition winners get their quiz certificate from our Facebook page. Thank you everyone for participating our quiz competition. Now we'll proceed to our question and answer session. After a short video clips, we come back with our speakers. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Thank you, sir, for waiting in the backstage. Sir, are you ready to answer the question?
Yes, yes, sure I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, it's our question and answer session time. You can send your question in our comment box. After question and answer session, we proceed to our certification process. So participants are requested to ask their question in the comment box. Dear participants, we are still waiting for our first question. Dear participants, if you have any question, you can freely ask the question in the comment box. Our speaker are ready to answer the question. Sir, first is how can we help stability in this trying time of pandemic?
All right. Thank you very much for the question of Miss Mary Juliet de la Torre Basan. How can we have financial stability? Can we have financial stability in this trying time of pandemic? Actually, no. To address the question of Miss Mary Juliet, I'm actually teaching investment and portfolio management and principles of financial management in my students. And they actually did a survey from their certain community about the financial stability. And mind you, this is one of the huge problems that the community is presently encountering. So this is very timely question from Miss Mary Juliet. And according to the provided solution, that's what I am telling you, that my students are the one who are providing solutions, not only me. And according to the provided solution, one of the tools that we can do in order for us to become financially it's stable in this time of pandemic is um, to first, of course, we have a financial tool that is a certain percentage like 20, 20, 60, 20, 20, 60. Then the 60 would come to our savings, 20 for our expenses, 20 for our emergency fund. And the community or the individual should stick to this kind of principle. But the problem is not all can able to sustain this kind of principle. So they have another options, and that is uh, to do or to find an extra, the extra opportunities for them to earn additional profit, or what we call um, the extra income, or the potential income generator by means of available resources. During the time of pandemic, a lot of people are engaged in doing business, even though this kind of business is not that so big, but the business is the resources from this kind of business is actually available on their own. So try to look for the available resources that you have and try to market it in an online platform. And this is one of the practical approaches that I might say everyone is trying to do to sustain the financial requirements that we need to have in this trying time of pandemic. And these are the two major ways that we can do in order for us to become financially stable. Stick to the principles or to the uh, ideals of 20-20-60, or it's up to you if what is the best principles that is applicable to you, and then try to generate extra income. That's it, I think, for Mary Juliet. Thank you very much for your answer, for your question.
Thank you.
Innocent
The next
Daja.
question from Innocent Daza. The question is, how do we set measurable objectives?
All right. In connection with the question of Innocent Daja, how do we set measurable objectives? We actually have what we call SMART in doing objectives or outcomes: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So every time that we establish measure objective, it should be SMART. It should be specific, can be able to attain, measure, it is attainable by time, and it is realistic. So this uh, composition or these elements should be included on our objectives so that we can be able to measure it after the assessment is done. Any other questions? Welcome, Innocent Lachang. It's very welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Do we
Dear participants, we are still waiting for our next question.
do we have any more questions?
Sir, our next question again from Mary Juliet Dela. The question is, what is your opinion why there are lots of Filipinos are jobless?
Okay. Here is a very timely questions in the Philippines per se, that a lot of Filipinos are jobless. Actually, I do not believe that we have we do not have uh, opportunity to have a certain job in the Philippines. We have a lot of job opportunities in the country. However, however, one of the main problems that I could say is that because Filipinos are not ready to accept a certain job because of the qualification and standard. What I am trying to say is that the educational system and the qualification of every Filipino has significant relationship. It might be because of the quality that they have obtained is not fitted to the qualification of the companies or the organizations looking for. So that's why many Filipinos are struggling in finding job, fitted job for them. But we have actually a lot of job opportunities in the country. It so happened that the word, the qualification is not fitted to our Filipinos who is still looking for a job. So in that particular point of view, we as an educator can be able to to help our learners to obtain the certain competencies that different organizations, private or even public organizations, is looking for a job applicants. For our co-Filipinos to become fitted to the standard or qualifications that the organizations is looking for them. This is it. This is based on my opinion. That's why it's very important for us to expose our students in the scenarios like the situation that we are facing right now and what possible solution they can contribute to that so that they can be able to provide solution to the existing or to the possible problems of the organizations. It's very practical. Thank you, Mary Juliet. We have another question from Van Ubando. How can we set the quality education in our students? You know, for me, having a quality education is a two-way commitment from student and educator. If the educator is not committed in providing quality education, wherein the student is always looking in that, in this quality education, it will never be effective. But if the two major stakeholders, the students and the educators, are bought into quality education, then they will be having an avenue to recognize the quality education that we are aiming for. For me, um, for me, having a quality education is by means of integrating the sustainable development goals or the global development goals that we have. This is actually listed there in the SDGs, the 17 SDGs, which is the quality education, so that our students will be exposed from different areas, not only in a particular subject matter that they are enrolled with. So in that particular manner, our students can be able to obtain um, knowledge, skills, values, attitude, or the ultimate goals of education from the development goals that we have. So this is how I can set the quality education for my students. Or in other side, we have outcomes-based education. That is another terminology for sustainable development, for the sustainable learning objectives, the OBEs or the outcomes-based educations, wherein the students can learn out of their um, out of their outcomes or outputs. Yes. Do we have another question from Clinton? I think it's from Clinton. during this time of pandemic, what are the possible solutions that we can apply to attain sustainable development to our students despite limited time used in every subject. This is actually true. I agree with Clinton Balbarona that we have a limited time used in our student. I think it's from Clinton. During this time of pandemic, what are the possible solutions that we can apply to attain sustainable development to our students despite limited time used in every subject? Um, I wonder what specific level of education you are connected with Clinton. I am at CHED, Commission on Higher Education. I am teaching college students, and the nature of our um, timeline is typically different from the timeline of basic education and tertiary education. But but the challenge on time being used in every subject is actually not so, how do I call it, challenging. Okay? This is because, based on my experience, um, allowing my students to expose in a problem, not just a week, 2 weeks, minsan, uh, sometimes it is, my students are exposed in a month in order for them to see the real situation. And then I always practice academic freedom for me to recalibrate my teaching methodologies. So the time element will be adjusted based on my recalibrated curriculum or course syllabus. There are times that I do not allow my students to get the written exam, but I allow my students to use their time of taking a written exam to do a reflection or a reflection paper pertaining to the exposed problems and providing solution out of this particular problem. And that is the major paper that they need to submit to me instead of taking written exams. In that way, the limited time will be adjusted and they will be having allotted specific time that is possible for them, and they are amenable with the time that they need to submit the requirements. What are the strategies we can use to set the quality education in our students? Like what I have mentioned on my presentation, so we have a lot of strategies, we have a lot of um, delivery options for us to set a quality education. But for me, um, one of the most effective so far that I can uh, utilize, that I utilizing as of this moment, the first is the gamification. The the one that the IGP is doing a while ago while doing quiz using Slido. I also using Kahoot in my class, a gamification. In that way they can be able to answer questions while enjoying the learning process. Another one is I also use collaboration and integration. I allow my students to collaborate with some students that they are not classmates. Another program from BS Financial Management to BS Entrepreneurship, and they come up to a better solution to the given problem. And then allowing our students to be engaged in community development program is another important methodologies that we can set. Okay? Not not particularly holding our students in the four corner of our classrooms, and we're in the lecturer is delivering his or her lectures, and then right after the delivery they will be having a quiz or a summative assessment, but allowing them to go beyond this kind of traditional platform will definitely help them to realize the real essence of the learning objective. Okay. Most important thing as well, the last one I could give is make your students familiar with the learning objectives we are established. It is very important that they know where where the students particularly go through after the course or after the program is implemented. So that's it. That is some of the tips that I could give to our participants.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful presentation. I think our participants also effective for the. I think our participants also very effective from your presentation as you share your very valuable knowledge with our participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, IGP, for this very good opportunity to share. And thank you for the active participations of our participants this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, I would love to thank you all for attending our today's session. Today, our program name is Setting Sustainable Learning Objectives, and the code is IGP 444 and 5. Without code, no one is eligible for certificate. With code, you can claim your certificate anytime. And without an account on our website, you can visit only, but you can't do anything functionally. Today, some of our new participants want to ask how to claim their certificate. First of all, you have to create an account on our website. Our website address is edu. Then you have to put our today's program code, that is IGP 4445. Then you claim your certificate. After collecting your certificate, don't forget to celebrate with IGP. Thank you very much for attending our today's session and making this webinar successful. We hope we'll meet together in our upcoming webinar in this afternoon session. Thank you very much.